Hello, hello. It is getting dark early, and I worked all day. I cleaned 2 refrigerators, and the way you do it, and this doesn't match this theme, but I just wanted to mention this because this can be very helpful for people. The way you clean a refrigerator that your husband left really, 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 really dirty and crusted is not with soap, and it's not with a chemical cleaner or any kind of, known household cleaner. What you do is you take kaolin clay. Okay, so kaolin clay comes in all different colors. You can buy it at Star West Botanicals in bulk. It comes in 1 pound or I think many pound bags, and it is reasonably priced because it is a natural product. It's an earth. It's just earth. It's powdered earth from planet Earth, and it the ones we have in the ground has biological components in it, but the ones you buy in the store is already completely filtered, and that has only the the clay substance that is pulverized. So, and also that helps with the cleaning. I just take a couple handfuls from the ground here, and I found out about the amazing healing and cleaning power of this particular sand that we have here. It is red or reddish red brown kaolin clay, very dark in color, very rich in iron and other minerals. And I've taken it internally also. I cooked it first, and it still has bio components, so they deliver vitamin B12, which is amazing. I don't know how much one has to take to satisfy the B12 needs, but that's the B12 you want more than anything else. That's much better than cyanocobalamin, which is the synthetic version that is sold in supplements and stuff like this. But I take the supplements, so yeah. But the the sand, the earth clay that we have here is really, it really needs to go through a grinding machine in order to grind down all the very thick particles, and some of them are hard like rocks, and they're very hard to dissolve, and even if I cook it, there's still those pebbles in it, and little pebbles, and it's very gritty. And so for that, I just don't, it doesn't feel so incredibly good to take that internally. But I felt actually I took it for a week and made me feel very good. And also, I noticed that it would it would actually take your gold out of your fillings. So I brushed my teeth with that just to see what it does. It gets your teeth really, really white. But the problem is it will draw out everything you have in your mouth. Any kind of filling material will come out because this stuff is like that's the ultimate. I've never seen anything like this. I didn't know this existed actually. So the solving and dissolving capabilities that the kaolin clay has is absolutely remarkable. And so if you clean with this, you just put a couple of handful in half a bucket of water, half filled with water, warm water, and you dissolve that, and you use a chamois. Those are my favorite cleaning tools, chamois, And I always cut them into a smaller square because it's easier to maneuver. And then you can just, what you do is you go into the entire refrigerator with this. You wipe everything. Don't worry about stuff not coming off right away. You just wipe everything with it, and it will look very dirty, and it will be very, if you have brown kaolin clay, it will all look like it's smeared with blood or something. You can also buy white kaolin clay, which will look more like Comet or something like this, but it's nothing like that. It is much milder. I don't know what Comet is made out of. Probably has chemicals in it, probably has bleach stuff in it, I don't know, and probably also some borax or whatever. And borax is much harsher, and it's also a natural component from the desert, and it's not bad in its pure form, but it's very abrasive and scratches things. Kaolin clay is very mildly abrasive, just enough to clean a surface very thoroughly without scratching it. It's very, very amazing. So you just wipe the surface with it, then you wait for 15 minutes, and it does its own, it soaks into everything. It actually, if you compare soap with kaolin clay, just by the first time wiping it in water solved, just by the first time wiping it, like 10 times more stuff comes off versus the soap. But you want to let it soak and let it do its own job. And then in 15 minutes I did something else in the meantime. I went back with half a bucket of clean water. I rinsed the ShamWow very well outside. You have to do that outside because it stains, and it might also clog the pipes, so I would always wash that out in the garden. And then you wipe the refrigerators completely clean, and everything comes off. And also the kaolin clay has this smell absorbing capability, so it just smells like earth the whole time, even with all that goo that's in there, and that's probably smells bad, syrups and whatever that have been caked in there for years. So all of that stuff can smell pretty bad, but as soon as you wipe that with the kaolin clay, the smell gets instantly deodorized and absorbed into the clay. It's very amazing. And yeah, and then so you just wipe everything with the freshly rinsed ShamWow, and you make sure you don't get this all soaky. It doesn't have to be soaky, it can just be it can be squeezed out the water, and it still has enough water in it to clean it very well and to rinse it in a wiping form. So you just do this like 3-4 times. You put the ShamWow in the bucket, you wash it in the water, the clean water, you squeeze the water out, and you wipe the refrigerator again. And then after the 4th time wiping the refrigerator, you don't need to do any hard scrubbing. It comes all off, and it's wonderfully clean, and it smells good. And then in the end you can wash the ShamWow out, and you can squeeze all the water out, and then you just wipe the entire refrigerator one more time and get it all clean and also dry, so that there is no water residue that will leave some kind of substance behind in a dried form, or that wipes it amazingly without a spot left behind and without any kind of water spots left behind. It's really amazing. And I would say I did this in a fraction of the time that I used to do a refrigerator in the past, and I always work very hard. I do a very thorough job on this People were always telling me, oh my gosh, the refrigerator looks like new. And it looks like new now again, and I only worked like a third of the time, or maybe a quarter of the time that I used to work on it when I used soap or other stuff, like I always used natural soaps, and I used scrubs and whatever, and that would be abrasive and leave scratch marks, and it's so much work, and it's just doesn't make any sense. So the kaolin clay really takes it all off and works very smoothly. So, and it costs very little, and it cannot be patented again. And that brings me now to the subject that I wanted to talk about, which is vampire transfusions part 2. So people want to patent things, and when they can't patent things, then this thing that they can't patent, they can only patent something they created, and a natural product is created by Mother Earth. That's not made synthetically. That the patent belongs to Mother Earth and not to a person. So that creates a greed issue with people, because people are greedy. They can't just say, oh great, for Mother Earth, let's use this, let's sell this. Some people do sell it, but they always try to sell it for much more than people can afford it. But anyway, some people have that in their garden and they don't even know it. If you dig down a little bit, you might dig up some amazing clay in your garden. You have no idea what kind of clay there may be, even there may even be unpolluted clay. There might be clay that purifies your entire system. Almost all clays do that. If you take a tablespoon of a hydrated clay every day, which I do, it has a remarkable maintenance detox effect on the whole system, and you have to drink a lot of tea and juices and stuff like this. And you have to go into the sauna, and you have to go into the jacuzzi, or at least you go under the hot shower and you shower with cold water afterwards. So this is very detoxing. That's what I do. That's what I just did earlier, and it was amazing. And so, yeah, and all of these natural modalities, they are reasonably priced because it's available. Other people have access to it. So stuff like this will always be on the market for a lower price than the other. Then the other one has a lower price than the other, and that's with the internet. That's wonderful, and that bothers, of course, monopolies like the pharmaceutical industry and the pharmaceutical companies that they want to create something in the laboratory. They usually test on animals, which is absolutely horrific, and it's what Tony Robbins calls it's really a class 4 experience, something that does not feel good, because it doesn't feel good to them. The only thing that feels good is the money that they're hoping to make with it. It doesn't feel good. It's not good for you. It's not good for others, and most of all, it doesn't serve the greater good. So why go the farmer route is my question, And as I mentioned yesterday in the video, the stuff that is created by the pharma industry and the medical industry takes on vampire-esque forms. And I just watched my video from yesterday. I talked about it. I don't want to get into it again. It's just want to mention briefly that now they figured out a way how to do full blood transfusions, and from children and babies, and matching the blood type, and in order to rejuvenate people, and on cost of the life of the other living being. And it's probably the same people there often that will get really mad if someone aborts an embryo that's this size. But they will keep a baby in a cage and sap the entire blood out of the baby's body. They don't seem to have a problem with this. And I just want to put these things out there so that people actually get to see it. You look at it, you really look at it. You don't shy away from the truth. These are the facts. You got farmer on one side with the cruelty to the animals, and now they want to use children. And on the other side, you have natural earthquakes. You have Mama Nikki, Grandma Nikki giving you information for free that can save your lives, that can save all of your lives, your animals and your children and your own bodies. It can save your house. It can save you money. It's an all the way around good experience. It's a so-called class 1 experience, according to Tony Robbins, something that feels good, something that is good for you, something that is good for others, and something that serves the greater good. And so I recommend that, of course. And yeah, and my skin, I used to, when I clean, my skin gets shrivelly in the fingertips, and when I work with kaolin, I don't even need to wear gloves. My skin stays smooth, and this is also absolutely remarkable. I think that my skin reacts when I work with water for a long time, or have my hands under water for a long time, like in public, particularly in public swimming pools and jacuzzis. My skin gets wrinkly and shriveled, and kind of like soaked. The callus part gets soaked, and I wonder why that is. Maybe because of the bacteria or something. The kaolin neutralizes all of this. It neutralizes all the bacteria and the molds instantly. It's an absolutely fantastic material. So yeah, and that can be harvested for free even, but it's very reasonably priced on the internet, at particularly Star West Botanicals, my favorite bulk material company, and all natural. They have very good environmental services, and they make sure that the stuff comes from ethical productions and serving the planet. So they're very great. I'm not associated with them in a financial way. I wished I was. But no, I buy from them a lot of raw and bulk items for making my own creams. And I love making. It's very easy to make. With beeswax and oils, you can make a cream very easily. And those are absolutely pure, those creams, and they are amazing for your skin. Really, really amazing, and it heals everything right away. Mosquito bites, any kind of pimple, even warts. And if you get into it, you will see, if you research that stuff. And that's why I say natural healing, which is very infinitely rewarding for anyone. Natural healing requires that you become your own scientist. You do the research. And a lot of people have already done the research for you. I wrote a whole book on it. You can buy that if you want to. But you don't have to, information is there on the internet. I just basically condensed it into one book. It's on Kindle store, easy to read, easy to put into the ebook reader. But you can also just research that all for yourself, and I have also put a lot of my own experiments that I did on myself into the book, so that you don't have to repeat these on yourself. You can just read what I have done and what it did and so on, and all these effects of things. And but the internet is loaded with information about herbs, about plants in your own area, in your own garden, even on parking lots, even on Walmart parking lots and Walmart hedges and store hedges, and the stuff is all there. So the gardener comes and trims these hedges and the leaves fall on the ground. You can ask the gardener if you can have some of those. He's probably going to say, go ahead, because he's going to clean all of this up, and I don't know where that ends up. And I have seen a gardener at Walmart spray pesticides. I was very upset about this. And then I saw a dog of a friend go onto those, and I told her about this. I said, don't let your dog go there. They just sprinkle these weird white little pebbles there. That's pesticide. That's an herbicide. Don't let your dog go there. And she totally, in a very angry way, dismissed what I said. And I can't protect the whole world, obviously. If people are resisting to that information, then there's very little that I can do. I feel horrible when I see people ignoring this vital information, how dangerous pesticides are for your animals and for yourselves. So stay away from pesticides forever, for good. You cannot use that. Any kind of herbicide, pesticide, rodenticide, particularly not rodenticide, or any kind of flea collar or flea poison, or any kind of roach motels. Stay away from that stuff. That's extremely poisonous and extremely carcinogenic. But it is sold in the United Roundup. It's sold in the United States, approved even, by shady people, approved. And the same stuff as glyphosate. That's the stuff in Roundup is illegal in whole Europe, and for a reason. Okay, amalgam fillings are illegal in Europe, not here. So, but people are slowly, gradually phasing over, because the doctors themselves don't even want to put that into their mouth anymore, or into their children's mouth, because people like myself have done the legwork research for them. So yeah, but they hate us, but they will use our information secretly because they want to protect their own asses. But they will sell it to you because they don't care. They want to make money, right? So it's in the shelves at Home Depot, and when I see that with dread. I try to avoid those aisles. I can already smell it. I can smell these toxins just being sealed up inside of the containers. And my eyes are already starting to tear, not just because I'm sad about it, but just because I feel very sensitive to all of these chemicals, and I don't even like to go into Home Depot anymore. All the chemicals and the open-ended fiberglass mats that are there. Fiberglass, for example, they don't work with fiberglass in Europe anymore, but here they still do. So question these things, people, question that. Why are these so-called consumer protective institutions like the Food and Drug Administration or the Environmental Protection Agency, why are they so leaned back with these things here in this country? Question it. Find out why. Is it greed? Is it not corruption? You know? Is it not that people were paid under the table to release something like this as safe when it is illegal, totally illegal in Europe? So question these things, you know. It is, and there, I did research on pesticides. I wrote an entire research paper on it. You can have that for free. I worked on this for like half a year back in 2005, 2006. And it is a very long paper, and it's on Blogger. I can give you the link. I found all of this stuff, you know, that, and if you know how to look on the internet, if you really know how to read things and how to question different blogs and articles and research papers, real research papers from universities and so on, if you know how to read these and what to pay attention to know when it is a fraud and when it is real. So those are all the things, and I noticed that it seems to not be so. It's a lot of people don't want to take the time to do this, but I took the time and I summarized all of this for you. And the information is right there, very crystal clear, and these are facts. You know, it's the university papers, the observations on patients, and also rat studies, which I dread, but I put them in there, you know. So it's all there. It is highly carcinogenic. It causes tumors, malignant tumors. It's absolutely horrific, that stuff. You don't want to use this. You don't want to support this. You don't want that to go into the groundwater. You don't want that to end up in water wells for people's homes, and that can easily happen when people use that stuff. And I dread it. We have a well now. It's further away from other people, luckily, but then again, we're on a slope. I don't know how much of the stuff, of the poisons that the people above us use, will eventually seep through, meander through the pebbles and the sand, and I don't know how far that reaches, but I hope it doesn't reach that far. But in more condensed neighborhoods where people are closer together, that's why in some neighborhoods they don't even allow wells, or septic tanks, because the septic tanks and the wells, they're not allowed to be too close together, because then the stuff in the septic tank can leach into the well. But not just that, you know, it's if you use pesticides, that leaches into it. If you use herbicides on your lawn, for example, that leaches into your well, and you will drink that stuff, you know, even if you filter it. So, and you don't want your animals walking on the lawn where there is any kind of poison. So this is very serious, yeah. And so in regards to the pharmaceutical industry, you know, take this very seriously. And pharmaceutical, not just the pharmaceutical industry, you know, any kind of drug maker, any kind of poison creating factory and corporation. Monsanto is probably the peak, the picture book example of what I'm talking about. So stay away from that stuff. The consumer has power, you know. Unfortunately, my videos don't reach a wider audience, but anyone who watches this, take this very seriously, because it is absolutely grave. You know, the cancer rate has gone up by 400% since these poisons have been in use since 1950, and since more and more pesticides have been in use and have been developed. So this is skyrocketed. You know, it's an epidemic. So yeah, take this very seriously, and also other things like neurodegenerative illnesses, like autism, for example, also due to pesticides and other things, vaccines also. And this is not tin hatter or whatever people call it. This shit is there, it's happening, and I've researched this very thoroughly. I stay far away from conspiracy stuff. There's conspiracy stuff out there to confuse the public, of course. And for the very reason, because they want to throw, it's kind of like they want to throw ink into the entire picture so that people can't see what's real and what's false. So if they throw conspiracy stuff into it, they muddy the entire picture so that people will just be afraid of everything and run away from everything. And not only that, it's also very systematically geared towards making people hate certain politicians. And this is very seriously. This is very serious. They use religion. They use your existing religions for that. They will even weave it into your religion. Jesus Christ is not happy about that. I can tell you that. So that's not what Jesus had in mind. Okay, that's not empowerment. That's fear mongering. Those are hate messages. Those are greed messages to the public. And this has nothing to do with the infinite. This has nothing to do with panpsychism. This has nothing to do with the truth. So the truth is, we live on this planet. This planet gives us everything we need. Right? But the greedy people don't want to hear about this. They want to create a problem for you. They want to make you fearful of things, and then they will create in the laboratory with synthetic stuff, with things that don't belong together chemically. They will create some kind of remedy for you, that has tons and tons of horrific side effects because it's poison. That's why. It's poison. It poisons people's livers, and animals. So it's awful, horrible, 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 horrible. It hurts the greater good. So stay away from this. I mean, this is just what I needed to say. Gravitate towards holistic healing and towards making yourself well, towards detoxing, going vegan, raw, whole food. Whole food is the key here. Yes, there are vegans who eat junk food. That's not what I'm talking about. You can be a vegan and eat white sugar and white bread. That will make you sick very fast. You have to eat whole food, whole grain bread. Make sure it says whole grain bread and not just some bleached flour with added ingredients, added back, created in the pharmaceutical lab. No, you want real bread made from real grain. Yes, and just ground and made into flour, made into wonderful bread. And unfortunately, there isn't very much available on the market. Actually, when I go shopping, I get France bread. That's as good as it gets. But there are bakeries in Marin County that are completely pure and whole food. And I've eaten bread from them, and it is amazing. So unfortunately, we don't live there. So I have to get what we have, and very rarely, like every 2 years or so, Paul will make his own bread. And he does not listen to me, unfortunately. And he puts other kind of flour, pre-mixed flour into it, and that has all kinds of bad stuff also. And you have to, if you want to make bread, if you have the time, or if you have a chef cook, this is the best. He can make you a vegan, whole grain bread, and that's what you want to eat every day. and you can put rosemary into it. I learned how to make bread the way Rudolf Steiner said to make bread. I learned that in Waldorf school. We made Rudolf Steiner bread ourselves and tasted so good and so pure and so wholesome. That's what you want to eat. And you want to eat a lot of lettuce, a lot of spinach, a lot of shredded carrots, and make salads with that, and shredded flax seeds, and all kinds of green vegetables in it, celery, tomatoes, avocado, good stuff, wholesome food. Okay, so you guys take care, bye bye.